All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome to uh, Community with Closers, man. I got the man, the myth, the freaking legend, Tommy Mello on the call. What you guys been asking for. We're gonna have a lot of people on here, so it's gonna be crazy. It's only 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So it's going to be like do or die. But what we want to do is we want to cover our homework from last week. We're going to be doing a series of these every Wednesday. It's going to be a blast. So we're going to jump right into it. So a lot of you guys got the homework from last week. We got the sheet right here. We got the answer key. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to see how this works because it's my first time doing the stream yard stuff. So Tommy, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing well. We beat our budget for last month, and one of the few companies that really I'm pretty connected in the home service industry, and it just seems like the economy's turning. And you know, I predicted it, and we're just well equipped. And we just brought on a new VP of marketing. We brought on an amazing hire, Amy, for the call center dispatch integrations, and we just continue to stack the deck. And all my marketing and sales experience directed towards getting great people on our team is just these people are so much smarter and better than me. And my strength is being the dumbest guy in the room and finding my weaknesses and hiring really, really, really A-plus players. And when you continue to do that, which people are afraid of, they're like, what if they're going to be smarter than me? But you just sit back and let them do them. It's amazing. They're having a lot of fun, man.
So I'm glad you said that actually, because the documents that I shared out today with the test and the answer sheet was from my sales manager. So this guy came from Gutter Helmet. He was making like 250,000 a year with Gutter Helmet, and I was able actually to get him to come on our team as our sales manager. And so he brought a lot to the table, and I love that because we're always hiring for somebody that's better, smarter than us, right? Because they're going to take the ball, they're going to run with it. I sat in on the sales meetings. You know what I mean? And so
Yep.
throughout the years, that I grew my business, the 17 years in exterior cleaning, as I hired people, they would bring things to the table. I'm like, holy crap, I never thought about that. Let's put that into action. And every time I did, we started winning, right? And it was their idea. It wasn't my idea. So now they're bought in. And I know with your new book, Elevate, you talk about that. They're bought in. You're training them. You're going over the training. You're drilling it into them. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun and watching people winning on the team. I look at home service like I look at sports. Great coaching. You gotta be working with the players in and out of the game, meaning that training them, working on their self improvement, how to really believe in oneself.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I give, the more I receive. It's crazy how that works, isn't it?
It really is. Zig Ziglar, dude, Zig was on point with that statement.
It's so much fun watching people win around me.
Yeah.
And it's just the winning spirit is alive. And I don't care about Biden. I don't care about Russia, Ukraine as far as home service is concerned. I don't care about the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I look in the mirror and I say, this is all you, good or bad. And when you can take complete ownership and actually say, I'm the reason why people stay here or why they leave.
Mm-hmm.
If your desk is messy, their desk is messy. If you're not in shape, they're not in shape. It's everything. You're there. A lot of times, the mentor, the owner, the founder, the manager, they look up to you, and you got to lead by example. And it's not easy, and there's a lot of discipline that needs to take place. But always improving, brother. Always
That's
improving.
right. Well, especially with the sales role, right? Like as you're talking about that owner, right? Starts with the owner, and then he might get a first sales guy. But he's setting the tone. I remember like I was literally cutting flyers in my room to have marketing materials to go out the next day. So we got guys on the call that are like, they don't have they don't have a sales team. They're doing the sales right now. They're trying to get their average ticket up. They're tweaking the system. They're following what I call my 19 points to a sale. We're going to cover the 10 tonight, but they're trying to get a system, right? They're trying to replicate their efforts. They're tracking as best they can. But I think it was for me, it was small thinking. And what I mean by that is like I was like, dude, if I put out 1,000 flyers, I'm gonna have so many freaking leads, right? And you don't know what you don't know until we started putting out 40,000 clip flyers. We started doing Google ads. We started doing all these things that work together. And then we started to see the lead flow because we were then tracking. How did you hear about us? Google, great. What keyword did you use? We started using all those things. Somebody's
We
calling.
I always interview two technicians each week that kind of break through a mindset,
Mhm.
and they're accomplishing a lot. And I want to share that with the entire company. And I just interviewed two of Aaron Gainer's top technicians. One guy did over 500,000 this month in plumbing,
Oh, wow.
500 grand, 22,000 a day he averaged.
Mhm.
And I literally asked him questions for a half an hour. And he said, one of the things I've done very well is I focus on making my bed, starting out the day right, getting my head right, making sure I'm listening to the client. And I read every single review and I listen to every call because he records his own calls in the sales. And he says, I take 1 month to work on a new process, and the next month I execute and I make sure I'm executing that thing for the month. And last month was execution. This month he's kind of working on different things. And
Mhm.
he said, I always say to the customer how the process is going to work. I sit them down right when I get there and say, I'm going to go through the entire system. We're going to talk about some different options. And I'm going to sit down at your kitchen table with you and go through this stuff. And he goes, I kind of lay out everything. So they say, when are you ready to come to my kitchen table? He's getting invited into the home to sit down with options. And he said, I go through every single, price objection, all the stuff in the beginning, the promotions, which is the financing, all these things are out of the way. And it's always me and the customer versus the company because I want them to know that I am on their side. And you don't get to $500,000 in any industry in 1 month without being the best. And having those people around me and what you're giving access to should be a game changer. Everybody should be doing this, trying to stack the deck with the best people in the industry, outside of your industry, even to be able to can change your mindset and think more, dream bigger, want more, and
Yep.
continue to feed your people. They need to hear how good they're doing. They need to know every day that you got their back. They need to hear the inspirational stories. You need to print out the big checks and show them when a guy has a killer week with his permission. And get them to be better spokespeople. Get them on the meetings, the morning mojo calls, and share the great news. And watch what happens. You'll attract winners. People will be making a lot of money. You'll be making a lot of money, and you'll have what I consider freedom.
And I love what you just said. So like the morning mojo call. So I had the opportunity to come see your location, ride with you for a couple days and get on the mojo call in the morning. Like nobody is doing this. So they're not doing sales meetings like every morning. They might be doing it every 2 weeks. They might be running leads and then they're busy and they're busy, right? They're not being proactive, but they're busy and they're running a lot of leads, but they're not tracking it and they're not doing the morning calls. So, like when you're getting a territory manager or a sales team, what's the best thing you would say, Tommy, that you would do in the very beginning when you're just got one, two, three sales guys?
So what I used to do with my top sales guys for about a decade is they call me every night, the top guys.
Yep.
And I'd literally work with them and find out every detail about that day. And I always challenge the top guys. I never really talked to the bottom guys.
Hmm.
I filled my head with positivity. And
Yeah.
I said, what did you say to this? How did this work? Tomorrow I want you to try this. I remember calling Robin in 2016 and I said, I want you to go sell what I'm calling the worry-free special. I'm including everything: the surge protectors, the deco hardware, the insulated door, the struts, the new motor. And I want you to charge 3,400. He went out and sold three the next day. And I said, let's do it at 5 grand. He sold two the next day. And like we worked together to build the systems. And the next morning, I'd share all that news. And when you find out it's possible in your own market with the same customers and they believe it's possible. So I always take the top 10% and try to stretch them to see how far they could go. Most companies, they try to get the bottom 20% up the whole time instead of seeing how far. Michael Jordan had 4 personal coaches and he had Phil Jackson. And they need to hear the positive news. So many people start out and they say, we need more reviews. You guys got to work on doing this and doing the clover knocking and do this, this, this. And it's always like you're talking at people instead of sharing positivity and
Yeah.
saying, gosh, it must be nice. You made 3 grand this week. What are you going to do with that money? What are you going to do? You're taking your kids to Disney World and try to get the money. is good, but what are you going to do with it and accomplish your dreams and share what it makes you feel like? And when you can be passionate and share the great stuff and the mental breakthroughs and the invisible ceiling that they broke through, it's amazing. I interviewed a guy last week that said, Tommy, I got so sick of you saying write down your goals. I started to do it. And he goes, I wrote down 80,000 in door sales for the month. I'm at 87,000. And I said, what's your next goal? He said 100,000. And he goes, I'm writing it down. I'm writing down what I need to do each week and each day, not just the month. And I look forward to every meeting and I participate and I get excited. And then I do the stuff you guys talk about. And he went from 20,000 to 87,000 in 1 month by writing it down and setting a goal and talking to the right people in the company. And if you don't have the right people in the company, find a guy like Pat and call him and call all the resources he has. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Success leaves clues.
That's exactly right. And there's so much to it. You know what I mean? Like the little tweaks. It's the little tweaks. Like you were talking about when you get into home. Like I asked the homeowner, I'm like, would you like the long presentation or would you like the short presentation? Like little things like that. They'll be like, well, I want the short presentation. So are they truly a buyer, right? Or they're like, hey, I want the long presentation. They want every nook and cranny. It's the same presentation, right? I'm just finding out where they're at. And there's little tweaks that you can do with just little words like that. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and we're going to run through this. And Tommy, I know you're going to love this because you are a systems guy. You're a training guy. You got it right there. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump into this document. And let's see here, entire screen. We're going to share it. Let's see what we can do. I might need to share my window. All right, so tell me what this looks like if you guys can see it.
Yep.
Okay, so we got 35 people on the call right now watching us. So you can see my screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. So what we're going to do is this is the 10 steps by limbic selling. And I love it because we get past the logical part of the brain and we're talking to the emotional part of the brain. And this is what I really love about sales because it's, you get into psychology a little bit, but it's not just about that. It's being true. And so at the very bottom of this document, you're going to see that we always talk about all our core values right here as a sales department for, Precision Pro Wash. So we talk first is integrity, right? Second is respect. Third is caring. Fourth is excellence. And then fifth is success. And so these are our core values that we kind of teach with our sales guys that they need to go over. And we're going to touch on that, but we'll start at the top. So I know you got this paper, Tommy. Is there a lot of things that you kind of see in here that popped out to you?
Yeah. I mean, everything on here is pretty dead on. I think the most important thing is you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We heard that since we were kids.
Yep.
And empathy. The word that came up with Aaron Gainer's team today is genuinely caring and listening, not offering your solutions, figuring out what their solutions are, doing the best thing for that customer. And you don't know until, like a doctor, we ask a million questions. My doctor asks, how much are you working out? Are you smoking cigarettes? What's your alcohol intake? What's your anxiety? What's your stress? Blah, 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 blah. Then he offers the prescription. So often we walk right in. The one guy told me today, he said, Tommy, he goes, most technicians walk in with a solution. He goes, first thing I do is talk about the pros and cons of even keeping the current system they have. But if I would have walked in with a solution right away, they'd say, let's just fix it because they contemplating replacing it. And he goes, so many technicians talk themselves out of the sale and out of the upgrades and shaking your head, and never ring the doorbell, knock on the door. All the things you're hitting on here are dead on.
Love it. Love it. So this is it. So for somebody that doesn't have a sales system, okay, this is what you want to do. So you have this in your hands now. You can, change up the verbiage. You can use it the same, however you want to. Like if you have your core values that are a little different, put in your core values. Like this doesn't have to define your company. Everybody's is a little bit different. I talked about at the huge convention. We talked about the heart of the company, right? You need to put this stuff in, but this goes step one, right? The warm up, arrive on time, never late. We are always early to our appointments because we flyer on the way in, flyer on the way out. I'm looking at other homes. There's a book. I think you've read it, Tommy, Door to Door Millionaire, right? Like, have the scripts to go next door, have the cojones to go next door and ask for the business. If there's somebody on that road that wants something done, I guarantee you there's another one.
Yeah, I think the ability to ask and have no regrets. You know how many people live with regrets and opportunity costs of not making the attempt to ask, and just putting yourself out there. The go for no principle simply says instead of waiting for 10 yeses, go for 500 no's, and it pushes you past your limits and you get more comfortable accepting no, but you get a lot more yeses. And so many people, they say, listen, I think this customer's upset. They're spending too much money. Every time I was in a garage training somebody and they said, Tommy, is this it? You're not going to surprise me with anything else. I said, no, this is it. And then I'd ring the door. I'd knock on the back door because I was in their garage. And I
Yep.
would say, I got the door working perfectly. Now that I got the door up, your bottom rubber, I just want you to come look at this. It keeps all the bugs out. The door is working. You make the call. And I do show and tell, and I'd ask them, and they say, well, let's just replace it. And the guy said, there's no way they're going to do anything. They said they didn't want to spend any more money. And I'm like, see, that's because you're afraid. And if you're operating out of fear versus doing the right thing and empathy and caring for the clients and building raving fans, then you're doing the wrong thing.
That's right. And customers don't know. You are the expert in the home. I remember getting an Angie's List review. It was probably 10 years ago, and it was on my package pricing. And like exactly what you're talking about. You're upselling the rubber because you know all the bugs are coming in through this area. And so when she wrote this review for me, it like hit home. It was like, holy cow, like I'm adding, I didn't even realize what I was doing, but I was adding value to that customer. I was like, listen to Pat, let him explain the different packages and, go from there. But don't say no because you don't know what you don't have. And that really hit home. So I put that Angie's List review in my sales book, which I have right here. So I have my whole sales book. Yeah, it's old school. It's not digital. I want something to put in their hands, but I have my 5 little things in here. And in my fifth tab, I have all my testimonials, but I also have my profile on competitor companies. And so people are like, whoa, that's bad, Pat. I'm like, no, I don't talk down at my competition. I educate my customer on what's out there and what to be aware of, so they're educated. And so this all goes through these steps right here that we're talking about. And guys, I want you to take this wholeheartedly and I want you to implement this stuff because we're raising, look, all ships, raise. It's amazing how you guys are going to go out there and you're going to crush it this fall and you're going to put money in the bank for next year. And you're not going to go into January and February broke because you're going to put money on the table using these systems and listening to your customer. When I started following these 10 steps right here, and I talked about this, Tommy, at the huge convention. I sat down with this gentleman, had a really nice car in the driveway. His wife had a awesome SUV. And so I lay out this package and it was like $2,200. It was like the house and the driveway and the windows. And so he looks down, he's like, so how long is it going to take you to do this? And I was like, well, it's $2,200. It's going to take me about 4.5 hours. I said, we got it down to a science. And so he starts calculating up and he's like, and you got to shut up, right? So you kind of you got to make the price fun. And so I shut up. He sat there, he molded over. And he's like, he did the math. He's like, man, that's more than I make. And I'm
500 an hour plus. Yeah.
yeah. And he's like, that's more than I make as a doctor. And I sat him, I stared him dead in the eye and I said, sir, that's why I'm not a doctor anymore. And he starts busting out laughing. And we just started going back and forth. And he ended up closing. We went back outside. We looked at the home and we talked about his car more than anything. But he ended up signing up. But it was hilarious to do that and say, sir, that's why I'm not a doctor anymore. And you have to make price light. You have to be fun, but you also got to serve them at a high level and you have to value stack with those packages.
One of my mentors that helps out a lot. I've got a lot of sales coaches still to this day. I've got 4. I've got 2 speaking coaches now as well, 2 others. So there's 6, and I got more other people, mentors as well. But he said, listen, man, it's so easy. When I'm selling a door, you just say, listen, I'm going to give you, in his process, he gives 5 options, 1 through 5 star. He starts with the 1 star. And he goes, I'm going to go over 5 options with you and you pick one you like. How does that sound? And they say yes.
Mhm.
And so he's getting rid of the competition and letting them pick their solution. And typically they fall into a 4-star, but he doesn't spend any more time on 1-star than 5-star. He goes over the options. It's not a big sales pitch. He says the pros and cons of each. And he
Mhm.
goes through 1-star takes as long as 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. And he's just really upfront, casual about it. He's not a salesman. He's not trying to be perfect. But
Yep.
they got one of the things in here that you've done a great job of is adding the picture and say they got to love who the company is and that you're excited that you work for this company and they're exciting and passionate about it. And
Yeah.
just, they say Tommy's the owner. He's in our building every day. He motivates us. He's helping us live a better life. I trust him with my family. He helped us get through COVID. It's a company I stand behind. I trust him with my family. You should trust him too. They got to buy into why you love to work there and
Yeah.
why you're passionate about doing that. And I don't have any problem telling my guys, call me on my cell phone if you're out on a tough job. I'll get them on the phone with me.
Yep.
It doesn't happen as much as it used to. It happens once a month now, but it used to happen 10 times a day. And
Yeah.
I get on the phone and I'd sell every single thing. I said, you got the best technician I have. This guy is motivated. He's a great family man, husband, father, and he's going to shoot you straight. And I trust everything he's telling you. In fact, you've got an amazing individual. And when they knew I had faith in him and he had faith in me, we close
Mhm.
every single time.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how I was able to change. And I'd say, do you want this thing taken care of forever? Or do you want us to band-aid it? Do you want to kick the can down the curb?
Yeah.
And when I use that terminology, people are like, no, I don't want you back out here in the next year. And I know it's a different product than you're selling, but
Yeah.
it was, he like one time a guy called me up, the customer wouldn't spend 600. When I got off the phone, they spent 1,500 and he was blown away.
Yeah.
And, I love having a resource of somebody to call that's an authority that you could say, listen, I'm going to call my boss, Pat. He's an amazing guy. You're going to love this guy. And Pat gets on the phone and says, listen, sir, you do this work. We're already doing work in that neighborhood. You go ahead and let the HOA president know. You leave us a review on Google. I'll go ahead and get it done. And because you're willing to take the time to do that, I think you're worth at least $50 an hour. And it's going to take you some time to do the review. So we'll get this done today. I'm not a big discount fan, but if they're going to leave a bunch of reviews for me and tell the neighbors and put a yard sign out and tell the HOA president, their time is worth something. And we close. And
Yeah.
every opportunity you should be closing.
That's right. And it's not hard, but you have to put this into your system. Like when you go out and do a sale, for these guys that are watching, when you go out and do a sale, like you're thinking of what you're going to say next. Like it's a lot going on, right? You got to take your pictures, you got to follow the system, you got to do the thing. So what you need to do is you need to put it into a system and you need to role play constantly with your guys. Have them call you. Like you can see right in here. Tell them to choose to join the Precision Pro Wash family. We are like your uncle or cousin. So like when they do, we do it's a good fit call. When they call the sales manager, like, hey, think of me as your crazy uncle. If you have any issues, go ahead and give me a call and we'll, go through that. They need to feel like they're family. And you're going to run through your company story to make them feel that way. Exactly what you're saying. These aren't like sales tactics. I'm not a big sales tactic person. If you are genuinely looking to serve the client at a high level and you have a roadmap and you follow a clear system and you're on point, you're gonna make the sale. Why would they go with anybody else, right? You just gave them 3 different choices. They don't need to get 3 other bids. What are those objections you're going to get? Have an objection. We're going to talk about that later on in the month. We're going to go over objections. I have a whole objection sheet that goes over 50 plus objections that you're going to get out in the field that we've run into. So you have to be prepared. You have to be proactive, right? So with this, go ahead.
I was just going to tell you, I'm the highest price in most of my markets. And people say, how do you not have people just upset that they could get it done better for a better price? And I'm like, but the value is not there.
Yeah.
And we've taken a lot of time to present options with a lot more value. And
Mhm.
so many people in the home service space say, I got to be competitive. And Ferrari's not competitive. You've heard me talk about Steak 44. That's not
Yep.
competitive. I pay $1,000 for a couple now to go there, but yet they're booked out 3 weeks. I pay
Mhm.
for the experience. The way they make me feel is so great. They treat me with honor, respect, dignity. They call me the next day. The manager stops by. The food is excellent.
Yeah.
And they're marketing to the affluent. And you're marketing allows you to get the customers you service. And when you're branded correctly and you're doing the right thing for the client and you show up the same day on time with a wrapped vehicle and you got the right shirt on with a big smile and you're out there to advocate the client, you
Mhm.
don't need to be priced what the market is because you're following losers that are barely making a profit. So
Yeah.
don't go what they're doing, go against the grain and consider yourself worth more and raise your prices, but don't just raise your prices, raise your value and make sure you're including a lot more than anybody. And it doesn't take much time to do that. Shoot, clean up their dog poop while you're there, help them get the Christmas tree down. Do great things for your client above and beyond. Make them raving fans. Make them tell when a person's a raving fan, they go above and beyond to tell everybody how great you are because they
Yes.
just love you. They've never been treated with that much dignity and respect. And somebody to go out of their way to just go above and beyond. And when you do that and you sincerely want to do that because you genuinely care about people, it's crazy. Your life, you'll just be a magnet for great things.
The momentum happens. Like we have it's crazy because we have customers that we've serviced 10, 12 years ago that we've serviced their property over 6 times, and they keep coming back because of the way we make them feel. We treat them with respect. Hey, can I walk on your grass? It's the little things that'll make great success. And like Tommy's saying, that momentum is really going to carry. Those people are going to become your raving fans. We have what we call an agent program, and the agent program, basically, we send them little business cards with, Precision Pro Wash agent. And it's like a decoder ring that you got in the cereal box. You know what I mean? Like, holy cow, I'm an agent for Precision Pro Wash, right? How much does 250 business cards cost from Vistaprint, right? 35 bucks. So get them some business cards, make them feel like they're part of the team. And by the way, if they get you 10 customers, say your average tickets, you know, 1,400 bucks, 10 customers, 14,000. Would you go wash that person's house for free? Hey,
100%.
100%, right? So think of things. You got to think outside the box to make them feel like they're part of your company. Talk about your company story. So we got about 3 minutes left. I know I want to value Tommy's time. Tommy, I can't thank you enough for coming on, dude. It's been amazing. So what I want to do though is with that homework, I have the answer key. So I emailed a bunch of things. If you did not get the sheet, even Tommy said, right? That's pretty gold, right? That sheet's pretty good.
It is
So,
gold.
so they need to email me right away on here. Jeremy's going to get your email, and we're going to go ahead and email that out to you guys so you can do the homework, because we're going to be like holding you guys accountable next week. We're doing this for you guys because we want to see you succeed, genuinely see you succeed. Tommy doesn't have to jump on a call at 9 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? But out of the goodness of his heart, he's here. So guys, we want you to value that. We want you to get the content. We want you to put it in action. How many times did we watch one of these videos and we're like, holy cow, that's gold, that's gold. And then we put it up here and we never write it down and you never implement it, right? So
Yeah.
now it's time to take action.
Tom Howard and I were on the phone yesterday, and he goes, I talk about you and Ishmael all the time. He goes, Tommy and Ishmael are two completely different people, but he goes, you know what? He goes, I've never seen two guys implement things so quickly. They don't take time. They're busy implementing. They're not waiting for the right day. Is today one day or is it day one? And they get things done. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but when I'm if I'm at Sales Boost and I'm getting gold, I'm literally bringing my staff there. We're implementing and we're literally talking about ways to get this started. Or most people say, listen, I'm going to get back home, see how things go, and try to get one thing done. And that's okay, but it never ends up happening. Very few people, less than 3%, will make things happen.
Yeah.
And they wait for them to be done for them. And they just waiting for this magical day of hey, when summer's over, when the kids grow up and they're moved out, they're always waiting for something to happen and get done for them, when they just need to act. They need to implement. They need to focus. And they need to start now. It's never going to be perfect. It's never easy.
That's right.
But when you guys get this stuff and you implement it, it's not going to go perfect. But I guarantee you it's going to be better than what you're doing today. So my best thing is I challenge you to actually put these things in motion. Do them. Don't wait. Don't wait for your perfect hire. I need a number two. I need an integrator. I need someone in operate. I need something. I hear this every day, all day. Just get started. Don't wait. Now's the time. Make an impact in your business. Do not wait for things to get better. You control your destiny. You can't control Biden. You can't control all these other factors. You can control what you implement today. So get started.
Goya, baby, get off your arse and get it happening. But that's right. Nobody's gonna do it for you. That's the reality. Like, we want somebody to do it for us. But that was the biggest thing, dude. When you came to Sales Boost, what was it? I think the first one was like 2 or 3 years ago. Dude, you're freaking like executing. It's not the power, it's the speed of implementation. I was blown away. Your team's there, you're like, okay, do this, and you're like, boom, already done. It was an hour later. Those are the things you need to do. Like, if you're not an implementer, you need to write that crap down and start doing it yourself, and then get somebody to help you do it. I'm a visionary, so I needed an integrator, and I have a VA. She's amazing, and I surround myself with people that can help me execute, because I'm always like squirrel, but it is what it is. So awesome, Tommy, dude.
You're great, Pat. Listen, anybody that knows you knows you come from the right heart. You got it inside of you, and you don't need to do this stuff. You got a Corvette. You're good, man. Now you're just kind of throwing it back to people. You're living your best life. You're a good dad, good husband, man of God, man of faith, man of just what you're doing. If people just listened and they actually heard and they knew the true motive behind it, they'd go a lot further. And if you're not going to Sales Boost and not involved, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense why people don't want to engage in these type of things, because you're not alone anymore. You don't have to figure this out on your own. And success leaves clues. And just get started. It's not ever perfect. There are rainy days. Listen, man, I've been depressed at times, but I get over it very quickly. And I say, it's going to be a great day. Every single thing is 90% perception. I thought 2 guys got in a car accident last week. It could have really been that they were okay. They were, that's the first and foremost thing. But I could get really down and out, but I didn't. Yeah. I don't dwell on the negative, and I don't let it get to my head. Things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen, but it's, what am I going to do in the future to solve these problems? I can't go backwards. I look at the future and I say, what am I going to do today? Not next week, not next month, not next quarter, not next year. What's going to happen today? And make it happen. Be a doer. It's crazy to me how many people don't invest in their name of their company and their brand and their people. And I'm like, this is what you're going to do this is your livelihood for you and your family. And you're not going to invest in yourself. You're not going to invest into the brand. You're not going to take the time to build a sales process and to coach your people because you're so busy. But you have time for Facebook. You got time for your Netflix shows. You don't have enough time to work out, but you got time to get your priorities straight is all I'm saying, and invest in your company.
Amen. And it doesn't have to cost money, right? Like, you can do a picnic, you can do an outing, right? You can go to the park, bring their spouses in. You talk about their spouses a lot. You got to invest in their spouses, because their spouses are going to be kicking them the freak out the bed in the morning, get to work, right? So I love
Here's
that.
what I want you guys to do tomorrow. I want you to take I want you to get a bunch of $20 bills, and I want you to write on the back of it. I think it's illegal to write on money, but I'm willing to take that chance. As you say, this is for flowers for your wife. And if you got 10 employees, I want you to get them in a room, record it, put it on social media. But I want you to get a picture of all of them of the flowers when they buy them. $20. So if you got 10 people, it's $200. And I want you guys to watch the reaction of these employees. All of a sudden, their mindset is right. They're happy. Their wife is like, this is amazing. Some of the guys don't even need to say it's from Pat. And I don't care. I don't want acknowledgement. But what happens that next day? You're going to set a record. And they're like, that's a great, if they do say it's from Pat, they're going to say, what a great company. This is cool. That's really nice. And they're going to look at those flowers every day and just smile and remember why they work so hard for you. And those little acts of kindness that are often go a long way.
Huge. I wrote it down. We're getting it done. So hopefully you guys are too. I'm going to be asking you about that next week on the flowers. We want to see it. Tag Tommy in it. If you guys are doing it, get it done. Tommy, thank you again, man, for spending 30 plus minutes with us. Hope you guys liked it. Post, share, give Tommy some love. Check out, what is your channel again, Tommy?
Home Service Expert is the Facebook group. Pretty happy. We got 7,000 people in there, and I'm really engaging a lot more in that group. And if you just have a question, there's so many great people in that group to just ask great questions about. And you know, I don't make money on the group. Money's a byproduct of doing great things. And I've been very fortunate, but just one thing I want to say, Pat, is I'm from Detroit. I didn't have a lot of money growing up. I didn't have it super hard, but I got a job, you know, when I was 12 washing dishes. I was mowing lawn, shoveling snow before that. And my message to you guys is I've been down and out. I've had people steal from me. I've had the cops show up. I've got car accidents galore. Barely able to afford payroll by writing checks to the business to do it. I've been where you've been and probably worse. I mean, it was really, really bad for a while. And I just tell you, keep the faith. You're one good hire away. Just keep the positivity and remember why you started and create a why so big that it allows you to work through these issues. Because if I could do it, you could do it. I am nothing special. I'm not this great business guy. That I've got a great team, and I promise you guys, it's there, but it's taken 20 years. And you could get the same results in a few years and probably even faster. 20 years of commitment and a lot of problems. And here we are. And I'm as happy as can be. I really am. I'm very, very fortunate. I live a life. It's an elevated mindset. And I'm enjoying the ride, man. Don't wait for the destination. Enjoy the ride. And you know, Joe talks about easy, lucrative, and fun. And if you got people that just drive you crazy, that you hate being around, get away from them, whether it's outside of work or in work. Make the change now. Make those decisions. And people say, I can't live without this person. I don't want to fire them. And then they do it and they say, oh my gosh, Tommy, that was the best thing I've ever done. I can't believe how much more happy I am at work and I'm enjoying myself. So many people are afraid. They work out of fear instead of passion. But I've talked enough, Pat. I think you're amazing. You got an amazing group. You guys get your homework done, get these sales steps implemented, and success will start happening. You just got to follow through. When I started my podcast, it took 4 years to get people listening, but I stayed consistent every single week. And it takes consistency. You're not going to see results the same day, the same week, the same month, but you got to stay consistent and you will see very, very great results.
Great book. Consistency is the new currency. Good book. Tommy.
And the consistency chain. Read the consistency chain.
Yes, that's the one. All right, guys. You heard it from the man. So do it. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pat.